Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving straight into the hidden mechanics of healthcare facility design. We walk past them all the time, but hospital walls are doing way more heavy lifting than you might realize. Today, we're exploring a massive shift happening right now in clinical environments, the move away from traditional vinyl wall coverings toward cutting-edge, direct-to-wall printing. It's a fascinating story about architecture, technology, and, most importantly, patient safety.
To kick things off, I want you to think about your last visit to a clinic or a hospital. You probably noticed the wayfinding signs, maybe some departmental branding, or a really nice, calming mural in the waiting room. But did you ever stop and wonder what those graphics are actually made of? What if I told you the very materials designed to make these spaces welcoming might actually be hiding a completely invisible danger? That's right, standard hospital walls, specifically the graphics applied to them, can pose a significant, hidden infection risk. Let's look at exactly why that is.
Section 1. The hospital wall problem. To really wrap our heads around this issue, we first have to understand the extreme constraints that hospitals operate under. It's night and day when you compare normal commercial spaces with healthcare facilities. Think about it. A retail store can easily just close down for renovations, right? But a hospital demands 24/7, round-the-clock continuity of care. A commercial space gets a light dusting, maybe a quick mop, whereas a clinical environment goes to incredibly rigorous, aggressive infection control protocols using some seriously harsh chemicals. Patient safety is the absolute baseline. You literally cannot treat a hospital corridor the same way you treat a shopping mall, yet for decades the interior design industry has been using the exact same materials for both.
Section 2. Why traditional vinyl fails.
Okay, so traditional vinyl was basically designed for retail. Definitely not the high-stakes world of modern healthcare. Let's break down its structural vulnerabilities. First up, seam separation. Vinyl just naturally peels at the edges over time, and when it peels, boom, we hit our second major vulnerability, microbial harboring. Moisture gets trapped right underneath that peel, creating the literal perfect breeding ground for mold and bacteria, right next to where patients are. Third is chemical incompatibility. Those heavy-duty hospital disinfectants, especially bleach, literally melt and degrade vinyl adhesives over time. And finally, replacement disruption. When that vinyl inevitably gives out, ripping it off the wall interrupts critical patient care and creates a massive logistical headache.
18 to 24 months. Let that sink in. That is the Trojan horse reality of traditional vinyl graphics in a hospital. Sure, they might look absolutely pristine on installation day, but in a humid climate, or if they're placed near clinical sinks and bathrooms, those vinyl seams often start failing in just a year and a half. That is an incredibly short lifespan for a facility that never sleeps. And the fallout from that super short lifespan isn't just an operational nightmare, it's an environmental one too. Vinyl and wallpaper generate considerable waste. Tearing down huge plastic sheets every few years directly contradicts the sustainability commitments that so many modern healthcare systems are actively striving to achieve today. It's just a constant, never-ending cycle of material deterioration.
Section 3. The direct-to-wall solution.
So, how do we break this cycle of failing hospital walls? Well, we look to a highly specialized technology, direct-to-wall printing. This uses industrial inkjet technology to apply pigment-based inks directly onto existing drywall, concrete, or painted surfaces. It then cures into this super hard, non-porous layer. Notice what's completely missing from that equation? Absolutely no adhesives. There are no vinyl substrates at all, and because the ink is printed directly onto the architecture itself, there are zero seams.
Let's demystify how this actually works inside a busy hospital. It's a super smooth, 4-step on-site process. Step 1, you assess and prepare the existing wall. Step 2, you calibrate the robotic printing equipment right there to match the room's temperature and humidity. Step 3, print the high-resolution graphic directly onto the surface. And Step 4, cure. The ink hardens almost instantly. There are no massive fabrication facility lead times and no giant crates blocking the hallways. The wall literally becomes the canvas in real time.
Section 4. Winning on infection control.
This next benefit is arguably the absolute most critical piece for keeping patients safe. Because the ink cures into that hard, non-porous surface we talked about, it is incredibly resilient. It has tested compatibility with the harshest hospital-grade disinfectants. We're talking bleach-based cleaners, quaternary ammonium compounds, alcohol-based solutions, you name it. Practically speaking, this means housekeeping teams don't have to tiptoe around the graphics anymore. They can treat these vibrant, beautiful walls exactly like they would a standard painted wall, aggressively wiping and sanitizing them without any fear whatsoever of the image peeling, bubbling, or losing its color.
To really put this into perspective, let's look at a 400-bed academic medical center in the Mid-Atlantic. They were constantly struggling with vinyl seams failing every single summer just because of the humidity. So they ditched the vinyl completely and brought in direct-to-wall printing for all their wayfinding and departmental branding across 5,000 square feet of clinical space. The result? 3 full years later, they have required absolutely zero maintenance. Their housekeeping staff reports zero complications, even with their most aggressive disinfection protocols.
Section 5. Speed and Lifecycle Costs.
Beyond just infection control, we really have to look at facility management and installation downtime. Amazingly, it takes just 5 hours to completely transform a typical wall or zone using this tech. Because you're eliminating sticky adhesives and messy panels entirely, all the printing can be done during off-peak times, like early mornings or over the weekend. That means absolutely zero disruption to patient care or day-to-day clinical operations.
Now let's talk numbers, specifically for a 2,000 square foot clinical zone. Traditional vinyl is going to run you roughly $8,000 to $12,000 up front, but remember, it only lasts about 3 to 5 years. Direct-to-wall is slightly more upfront, sitting at around $10,000 to $14,000. But check out that lifespan, 8 to 10 years. You are practically doubling the life of the graphic. When you stretch that math over a 20-year facility lifespan and you avoid all that constant repurchasing, the removal labor, the waste disposal, the total cost of ownership for direct-to-wall printing is just drastically lower.
But hold on, let's pause for a second and ask a very practical question here. What happens when a hospital actually needs to change their graphics? You know, departments move around, branding gets updated, new safety protocols come out all the time. If this print is permanently on the wall, aren't we basically stuck with it?
Well, here is the really crucial point. These are completely paint-over-ready finishes. If you need to make a change, you don't have to hire a whole crew to come in and scrape off toxic glues or patch up damaged drywall. A hospital can simply grab a roller and paint right over the wall. Or, honestly even better, they can just bring the printer right back in and print a brand new digital file directly on top of the old one. No scraping, no waste, and absolutely zero operational downtime.
So, bringing it all together, let's look at the rule of 3 for this technology. The true healthcare advantage. Number 1, superior infection control through seamless, bleach-cleanable surfaces. Number 2, zero installation disruption thanks to ultra-fast off-peak applications. And number 3, superior life cycle durability that seriously drives down the 20-year total cost of ownership. This trio is exactly why direct-to-wall printing is rapidly becoming the absolute gold standard for clinical environments.
I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on today. Are your facility's walls a canvas for healing, or are they a hidden liability? The operational mechanics of the spaces we manage and visit are so often completely invisible to us, but as we've seen throughout this explainer, the materials we choose have profound, real-world impacts on patient safety, operational efficiency, and the bottom line. Thanks so much for joining me today. Keep learning, keep looking a little closer at the world around you, and I will catch you on the next explainer.